What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Is Austin in China coming at you once again live in Shanghai. So let's talk about the CELTA week 3. I'm going to kind of walk you through the timetable, what everything kind of looked like, and how I was feeling during the week and how I'm feeling now, and give you some general advice on the CELTA. So this is week 3. If you've not seen week 1 or 2, go back and watch those first, and you'll get some perspective on kind of how everything builds up to this point. Week 3, generally speaking, is considered the hardest part of the CELTA course, and I get it. I get it. It was a fairly difficult week. I don't think I ever got like overwhelmed, or I was never like at the point of breaking down and crying and stuff like that. We did have one or two of the ladies actually cry because of stress, or I didn't ask why, but so it's a tough week. So let's talk about what happened. Now, between weeks 2 and 3, there's a big change, and that change is you change students, like you switch levels. So at the beginning of the course, stage 1 of the course, I was teaching intermediate students. I should say our group was teaching intermediate students, and we switched to teaching elementary students. And that's obviously a big change because you have to adjust the way that you give instructions and kind of grade your language further down because they don't know certain words and things like that. And when you make that change, you have to first talk with the people in the other group who have been teaching those students, and you have to get as much information as you can and figure out how best to prepare your lessons. And then also the Friday before week 3 begins, you actually sit down with the students and you talk with them, and you get to know them. So we had to try to figure out an activity really quick, like an activity to get to know the students and questions we could ask them and things like that, because that's part of assignment 3, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So you have to switch levels. You have to talk to the students, kind of interview them for assignment 3, and then you have to actually teach during this week. And then during this week, you also get assignment 4. And it gets a bit crazy. So let's go chronologically. Week 2, we interview the students for assignment 3. And assignment 3 is called Focus on the Learner. And basically what that means is you have to really get to know your students. You really have to get to know your students. And you have to talk about things like their level, their nationality, their mother tongue, their backgrounds, their English learning experience. You have to talk about why they're learning English, their learning styles, their attitudes towards the different skill sets. And so that's one part of it. You have to create a profile of your class as a whole, give specific examples for each little part that you identify. This student is a visual learner. This student is, learns through listening. This student, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have to identify certain errors, like lexical errors, like errors in vocabulary, or phonological errors, or errors, grammatical errors. And you have to identify those, and then you have to design activities based around those. So it's a fairly intense assignment. So there's a chart we have to use. It's a fairly intense assignment, and originally it was due Friday of this past week, but our tutor pushed it to Monday to give us the weekend. If it had been still on Friday, I probably would have gone crazy. That would have probably pushed me over the edge a bit. So yeah, that assignment is due on Monday. So all of this is happening while we're trying to teach, while we're trying to lesson plan, and also while we're having these little input sessions, these classes where the tutors actually talk about teaching English. So, there are things like analyzing and presenting functions, for example, functional language. Hey, can you turn the AC down, please? That's a function. I want you to turn the AC down. And we analyze all these different examples and talk about how to present them. And then we actually had a tutorial on how to do our something, how to do our assignment, and also how to plan our lessons independently, because they're no longer helping us plan lessons. It's all on our own from week 3 and 4. So from week 3, everything, you're on your own. No more teaching points, no more help, no more nothing. So you've got to do everything by yourself. Something that happened on Tuesday that was really interesting was a foreign language lesson given by our tutor. So we started at the absolute beginning, teaching, trying to learn a language that none of us knew, which was very difficult because our trainees come from like all over the world. So our tutor is actually from Bosnia, so we actually learned Bosnian. We took 1 hour, or should I say, she took an hour and taught us Bosnian, like how to read certain things and how to introduce ourselves and how to say nice to meet you, my name is, and like an introductory conversation. Like that was crazy. Like I actually know how to like ask some questions and introduce myself in Bosnian. Whoa, that's, and it was really, really insightful. I learned a lot about myself and a lot about like how beginners feel when they get into a language class. So it's a really useful workshop, or I should say input session. Then they had other sessions about feedback and presenting texts and you integrating skills tasks with language tasks. And they actually did block out some free time for us this week to research for our third assignment, which was this right here, to do research to figure out the source of lexical errors and cite them, and grammatical errors and things like that. So they actually did give us time to work on our own, which was fantastic, instead of just constantly being in class all the time, learning. So that was great. Then, that's it. So teaching Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I taught Monday, Wednesday, and we had the input sessions. We learned Bosnian. And yesterday we actually finished early. We finished at 5:30 p.m. after watching a video observation of a teacher and kind of critiquing that teacher, because there was good things and there were bad things. And so that was nice. There was no teaching on Friday. And that was about the week. So this weekend I've got assignment 3 to finish, and I've got assignment 2 to resubmit, and then I've also got assignment 4 to try and finish a draft of. I think I have to turn it in on Monday or Tuesday. So I've kind of got 3 assignments that I've got to juggle, which is kind of nuts, but it's all right. I've still got a few minutes to record a video, and how am I feeling? How am I actually feeling? I feel okay. I feel fine. I can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's actually light from the outside. It's not a freight train coming my way, if you know what I mean. It's actually the light at the end of the tunnel. I've only got 2 teaching sessions left, and once these assignments are done, then I will feel really good. I'll feel really good. And I would say between weeks 2 and 3, that was the hardest part of the course. It was pretty intense, but after about Wednesday of week 3, I felt pretty okay. I didn't feel anything I didn't feel overwhelmed. So, and I think partly it's because I manage my time well. I've said it, I think, in the last 2 videos, is manage your time well. Don't waste time. You got to dedicate all your time to this course. So please do that. Also, I would definitely recommend you work with the people in your group. They are going to put you in a little subgroup of up to 6 people. Work with those people, because you can bounce ideas off them. You can share the workload. You can talk about your assignments. You can talk about your teaching. You can talk about the input sessions. Like, having these people around you is going to really help you, but it's also really going to frustrate you. And that's something that I think people don't talk about with the CELTA, is that it is also a mind game in many, many aspects. The workload's not so bad, but it's about how you deal with the workload and how you deal with all of these other people on the course and how you deal with the students. It's a mind game. So that's something you've really got to prepare yourself for. You got to prepare yourself to kind of go with the flow. There are going to be ups and there are going to be downs. If you followed me on Instagram, you'll see that I really have been going up and down in my daily stories that I post about the course. One day I'm like, oh my God, this is awful, blah, blah, blah. Then the next day I'm like, oh, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. That's been insane. And for me, I'm the kind of person who I like to be around people when I choose to be. I don't spend too much time going out or hanging out with my friends and things like that. So constantly being around people day in and day out, day in and day out, always asking questions, always answering questions, always doing this and that. Being around that many people was really tough for me at times. So it took a toll, and also just constantly being assessed. Like you're always being watched by the tutors and evaluated by the tutors, and everything you do, they make a comment about every little thing, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's kind of in the middle, And that could take a toll too, because a lot of people don't like feedback. Or if we do like feedback, we don't want too much feedback. And getting so much feedback in such a short amount of time can take its toll as well. You can take it personally. And don't. They're not demanding perfection. They're not. They said it over and over again. They're not demanding perfection. They just want you to be the best that you can be, and they want you to just try. They want you to try and use the feedback that you're given. They want you to try to make classes better. They really want you to try and make your classes centered around the students. Like, that's all that they want, is they really want you to try. If they can see that you're working hard and that you're serious about it and that you're doing your best to get all your paperwork in order, then you're fine. You're fine. They understand that it's hard. They get it. They understand that it's hard. So just take it one day at a time. One day at a time, you'll be all right. So that's all my advice for right now. That's everything I can think of. So thank you all very much for watching. See you all next time.